Hey guys, Matty at Broken Supercoach checking in early on a Monday. Apologies, didn't get the video out last night. It was a little tilting, so we're seeing Supercoaches super tilting at the moment. Just shocking stuff everywhere. No, I can't nail a premium to save my life. Blokes going down, injured. Guys getting picked at the last minute. Rookies that we traded out going off. Other rookies just looking terrible. So we've actually done well to hold ground here. 2470 we've scored, which I think honestly is, most people were dropped around 2400, and if you had Sinclair, you're probably dropping 2500. So it was a pretty stock standard week. We could have got much more if we had nailed a couple of good premiums, but sadly, Noah Anderson seems to be a bit of a joke. But Steele's come good, so the pep work. Let's go into the team. The pep run that I gave him has absolutely fed it to him. So we'll go through the lines just quickly. Dawson, what they play, the Dogs, shocking conditions. You happy with that? Zeeble, I'm surprised at his score. He scored about 30 in the first quarter and then 88 for the whole game. So very confused about that. Tom Stewart, shocked that Geelong did so poorly. I'm a little bit concerned about what he's putting out. He's dropped a couple of low scores, I thought. 115. It's all right. It's all right. Every now and then he's dropping 90. Absolutely bizarre result, that one. Dacos 100, so it's looking like Dacos is, obviously he's a keeper, but he's probably lost the ability to be the captain. Teams have worked that you can actually run with him. And like we said was going to happen, Crows ran with him, Sydney ran with him, and Carlton probably ran with him a little bit. So teams have kind of worked it out that you can run with Dacos just to keep him cool a little bit, I suppose, if you want to call it. Whether teams run with him hard, like the Crows and Sydney did, or whether you just run with him loose, like Carlton did, and even GWS did run with him a little bit, but not enough to have any sort of effect. So he can get off the chain, and he's got two massive games here, so we're pretty keen on these. But whether he's going to actually see enough footy against West Coast in particular is a bit of a concern. So let's have a look. Obviously, shocking news about Oliver overnight. 4 to 5 weeks potentially, which is very frustrating. Even more frustrating if you traded him in. Equally frustrating if you own him, because what are you supposed to... We're at a level now. This bench, we're coming into the bye, so you need every play you can get. This bench is not suitable at all, and you can't sit 650k on your bench for 4 to 5 weeks. Potentially comes back, 7 weeks, and then, how fit is he when he comes back? So, Oliver sadly has to go. So that's probably the last boost, maybe. We'll see. We got Anderson dropping absolutely nothing. He still managed to go up 80k, which is hilarious for us, but because we got him this week. So he hasn't scored... outside of this 71, he's dropped his 2 lowest scores of the season for us, so that's good. Against West Coast and Brisbane, so hopefully he gets some scores here, but I am very concerned about that. Playing in Darwin, we'll see. Goulden, we got Goulden in. He's playing for us here, so in the midfield at the moment, but he'll obviously end up in the forward line. Scored 96, that's all you want from a guy like that. Got on him late, but whatever. He is a must-have, so sometimes you have to play catch-up. And you have to grab those guys. So that's why we didn't go up the rank. We more just held our rank because we were just catching up with the field. Everyone has Goulden. We have to grab Goulden. Laird, back to his best. Annoying because if you had just not traded, if you'd not started Laird, say this was Bont, say this was, well, probably Bont's the only one, we would have saved 100k on him. So, their buy comes up in 3 weeks. But he's got a huge run here and he looks fit now. So... He's liable to blow up here. He could go wild against Brisbane, 120 there, and then, could score a lot against West Coast the way they're tracking at the moment. Tom Green scored a lot against West Coast. Neil, he was doing well against Gold Coast. We knew that was going to happen. Jack Steele, so that's what you do. Before you laugh, if you drop a guy from your Supercoach team and then bring him in later in the week, This is what happens. It has effect on him. I'm telling you. Atkins 100. Big miss was Bailey Humphrey. We didn't get him in. I don't think it's too late to get him in, and I think we will get him in. But yeah, loved having Atkins on the field. I cannot believe Rory Atkins is scoring 100s in 2023. That's just wild scenes. Can't expect that out of him every week. And then Sharp was subbed off. We love that. Drury can't play footy. That's awesome. And no sign of Roberts whatsoever. I should mention here, Constable seems to be a myth of a player, and Shinkota randomly dropped leading into the buys. So we love that. English and Marshall did what they're supposed to do. I thought English was underscored a little bit, but that's okay. And Marshall was accurately scored. Dunkley's sick. We keep forgetting that he's a captain option. He probably won't be this week, but we just keep forgetting because every now and then he drops lower scores, so he's probably more of a VC option. Tarano, same story. Rosie's awesome. He's probably is a captain option. That's a bit of an overreaction. Sorry. Big miss in the forward line is Butters. We could have got him. So we've got some huge misses there. We brought in Goulden instead of Butters, which we could have done. We brought in who else? Anderson instead of Sarong. Just like that, 2 moves. I mean, obviously we wanted Goulden anyway, so that's not the end of the world, but Butters looks like the better choice. Anderson instead of Sarong looks horrendous for us, but we'll get Sarong now anyway. And then Cogs, Sheasel, Simpson. So Sheasel's still dropping massive scores. We're loving this. Obviously, if you'd seen my trade video, it was Sheasel for Darcy Cameron. Sheasel had already played by the time Darcy Cameron was named as a laid-in, and I know I'm the biggest dick rider of Darcy Cameron, but there's a big but. I don't like Darcy Cameron when there's 3 tools in the team. That's the same as Grundy, Cox, Cameron last year, and when that was happening, he was the lowest scorer of all of them. Obviously, Cox not relevant, but he would not take any points away from Grundy as it was. And he would share his points essentially with Cox. So while Cox is in the team, and there's also a 3rd tall, I don't think that Darcy Cameron's going to be relevant for us, which is a bit of a shame because he's an absolute boy. But if Cox or Johnson were to go out for some reason, which I can't see that being the case at the moment, but if they were, we would reconsider Darcy Cameron as a pick, but not at the moment. Sam Simpson subbed off. So there's another one. And that's so frustrating. So hopefully we'll see if he's okay, because we kind of needed this guy to go through the buys. So we'll wait on injury news for Simpson, because he's got such a good favourable buy and he plays through them all. So we were really hoping that he gets a run, but it doesn't look promising now. But they were losing against Fremantle, and he's a bit of a downhill skier. And we obviously picked him because we knew he'd be a downhill skier, but he plays for Geelong, so they usually downhill ski against most teams. So we were kind of hoping that he gets these 2 games, and then we're kind of hoping that he runs us through the bye weeks. But now we'll have to wait and see. But if he's... I don't know what happened, because I must say I didn't watch the game. So if he got injured, then obviously he's got to go. But if not, that's okay. Sam Stewart, absolute mythical beast, never plays. Can't believe I traded that in over Dill Williams. And Noah Long's back. So looked terrible, but so did West Coast. If you manage to score 37, if you're Supercoach, well, what I should say, if you score a 37 and it's higher than your team's total, you're doing pretty well. Your team isn't, but... All right, so what do you do this week? There's not a lot to do. Drury taught us never to go early on rookies ever again, and that means I'm not going Wardlaw. And I know that Wardlaw looks good. Believe me, I know that Wardlaw looks good. But I'm not going anywhere near him while Drury happened. So first things first, we've got to address Oliver. That's an easy pick for me. I could get Bond if I wanted to. I don't really... This sounds crazy, but I don't really want to. He's got 181 break even. I just feel like he's going to be cheaper at his buys. Where's his buy? In round 15. So he's expected to be back down to 666, assuming he scores really well. So that's when we're going to do it. We're not going to do Bont now. And what we are going to do is Sarong. So I think we were sorry that we missed him. There he is. We're pretty sad that we missed him, but we're going to get him now. And he's tracking better than Petrarca. Petrarca to me is a massive downhill skier as well. He can only score... Oh, look at those scores, though. Gee, they look good. But we need the value pick, and I think Sarong is the better value pick. I thought he'd be a better pod too, but apparently not. 12 and 14. But I imagine most people are going to go Oliver to Petrarca because Petrarca is the obvious one. Being no Oliver, you'd expect Petrarca to score more. I actually think he'll score less because of no Oliver. Caleb Sarong comes in. So we just hit trade on that one. And then I think we've got a rookie that has to go. Probably Chincotta. We'll see who else we can get. So say it's... Who else we got? Because we may have to... If we boost, we may have to get rid of Long too. I know that sounds crazy because we just bigged him up. But we may need to do Simpson, Long, Chincotta. So one of those three. And I'll bring in Bailey Humphrey if I can. So... I'm not going to make any money off this trade. This is just an adjustment. So, say if it's Simpson out, then Simpson for Humphrey, makes the most sense. Otherwise, I can do it with... I think I just can't do it with Chincotta. That's the only guy. Oh, no, I can do it with everyone. So, that's what I'll do. I'll need to wait on the news. But essentially, whichever one seems most likely. So, if Simpson is out, then... we'll probably have to trade him. We don't like that, but probably have to. Say Sharp. I can't get rid of Sharp. That's just annoying if he's injured. We're just going to have to face the fact that he might have got subbed out for fun. Chincotta, if it's Chincotta, fine. We want playing players, so we're not going to have held Long for that long for one game, so we're going to give him a run. So realistically, it's probably Simpson. Goulden goes back to his spot, and then we just grab Bailey Humphrey. It's a round 13 buy for a round 13 buy player, so it's not the end of the world. Otherwise, it'd be Chincotta, which gives us an extra player in that bye week. So we've got 100k still to work with. There's obviously this one Baldwin that everyone's going for. Don't mind it, especially against West Coast. With how low trades I have, I think I'm just going to wait on Wardlaw, and that seemed to have stopped. But here it comes. So that's probably what I'll do to avoid a boost. I'll have a better think about that later. Captaincy option, I think we're actually going to go Sarong into potentially Laird against Brisbane, most likely. Unless Neil scores well against Crows historically. But not really. Well, yes, but that's when the Crows were bad. Yeah, anyway, that's how the team looks. Let us know how you went. Let us know what your plans are. I thought I'd just sneak a peek here. Yeah, Merritt's obviously a good pick. Sinclair's obviously a good pick. Butters obviously a good pick. I'd love to get Butters. I think this is too much. Just a bit of bonus content. I think this Butters price now is too expensive. I'm not paying 600k for a bloke playing in my forward line. Though these scores are huge. But if he goes back to his normal 90s to 100s, which I think he probably goes 105 from here, and I think at 620, that's too much for me. So I'm underdoing him. So I accept that I'm underdoing him. But, yeah, like, this is not true. I don't think he goes at these type of scores. I think... And he's got a very unfavourable bye. Round 15 is not a good one. So, because if you go to round 15, yeah, that's North Melbourne's. That's obviously Port, and that's Bulldogs, and it's GWS's. So there's a lot of big players, and that's Carlton. So there's a lot of big players in that bye. I don't really like it a lot. But how do we look now as far as buys goes? Round 14, we're looking great. And round 12's our tough bye. Because we've got Saints players, Brisbane players, and now we've got a Fremantle player. So, looking at it, I could go Butters and spend that money, but I like Sarong. I really like Sarong. I think Sarong goes better than Butters from here out. Anyway, I've talked about that too much. Let us know how you've gone. Yeah, that's basically all I got. See ya.